Shalom Talmidim. Here's a video about the numbers in Hebrew. Basically, they're more like vocabulary words than they are a grammar concept, but there are a number of things we may need to talk about as we go on. Let's start with counting to 10, shall we? Echad is 1, Shnayim, 2, Shalosh, 3, Arba, 4, Chamesh, 5, Shesh, 6, Sheva, 7, Shmone, 8, Tesha, 9, and Eser, 10. Let's do that again. Echad, Shnayim, Shalosh, Arba, Chamesh, Shesh, Sheva, Shmone, Tesha, Eser. Now, this is how you count to 10, but I'm afraid if you actually want to say, I have 3 books or 5 friends, there's something else we need to know. Something somewhat strange that happens in most of the Semitic languages. The not strange thing is that numbers, a little bit like adjectives, have masculine and feminine forms. So, echad is actually the masculine form for 1. Now, Hebrew can also indicate numbers by means of letters, and they assign a different letter to a different number. So 1 can also be expressed with an aleph. So echad is 1. But achat is also 1, just used with feminine nouns. So achat isha, 1 woman, echad ish, 1 man. Similarly, 2 has 2 forms. Shnayim is the masculine for 2 of something masculine. Of course, 2 can also be indicated with the Hebrew letter beit. So Shnayim is masculine, but Shtayim is feminine. And this continues through the number 10. Shalosh is feminine. Now this is funny, because Shalosha is masculine. Now, Shalosh doesn't have any ending, and Shalosha has a kamatz he ending. And with nouns and adjectives, we've learned to associate a kamatz he ending with a feminine form. But for some reason, in the numbers 3 through 10, the pattern is exactly the opposite. The form with the kamatz he will go with masculine nouns, whereas the form without it, the basic counting form, will go with feminine nouns. This may seem strange, but there it is. So shalosh goes with feminine nouns to mean 3, and shalosha with masculine nouns for 3. Arba, 4, goes with feminine nouns. Arba'ah goes with masculine nouns to mean 4. 5 with feminine nouns is chamesh. With masculine nouns, it's chamisha. Shesh is 6 with feminine nouns, but with masculine nouns, it's shisha. 7 with feminine nouns is sheva, and with masculine nouns, shiv'ah. With feminine nouns, for 8, we have shmoneh. Notice this ends in segol he. So to make the masculine form, we remove the segol he and put kamatz he in its place. Shmona with masculine nouns. Tesha, 9 with feminine nouns, becomes tish'ah, 9 with masculine nouns. And eser, 10 with feminine nouns, is asara, 10 when describing masculine nouns. So the numbers 3 through 10 take forms that look like they're masculine with feminine nouns, and forms that look like they're feminine with masculine nouns. This seems very strange, but eventually you will get used to it. Now, what about numbers greater than 10? Well, first we need to know how to say numbers between 11 and 19. And there are special forms of the number 10 to use with them. With masculine nouns, we have the special form asar, to mean something teen. And with feminine nouns, esrei. Now notice asar and esrei look like a masculine or feminine. They're not backwards like the regular numbers 3 through 10. But if we want to have 11 with a masculine noun, we take the masculine form of 1, achad, and the masculine form of teen, asar, and we get achad asar, which means 11. The feminine form could be achat asara, or achat esrei. And notice, when we have numbers greater than 10, if we're writing them out in Hebrew numerals, this could be Yod, which stands for 10, plus Aleph, which stands for 1. So, Yod Aleph. Now there's another way to say 11, which behaves less like a regular pattern. There's a special word, ashte, that can be used with asar or esrei to mean 11. So instead of using a word that means 1, we can use a special form that only occurs in the word 11. Ashte asar. For 12, we take an appropriate form of 2 and an appropriate form of 10. So, shneim asar. Now, it's not shnayim, because this form is, in a sense, in the construct. Shneim asar. It's not exactly construct, but the ayim reduces to a in this construction. There's also a form truly in construct, shnei asar, which occurs twice. And that's how you form the masculine for 12. The feminine for 12 starts off with the feminine for 2 and the feminine for teen. Shtem esrei. There's also a form, shtei esrei, that really is in construct. Notice the way that you could write 12 using just Hebrew letters as numerals is Yod Beit. For 13 to 19, again, you still take the appropriate form of 3 through 9 and add an appropriate form of teen. So with a masculine noun for 13, you would take shalosha, the masculine form for 3, that looks like a feminine with that kamatse, right? So the masculine for 3, shalosha, and the masculine for teen, asar. Shalosha asar. Or if you were writing it out in Hebrew numerals, it would be Yod Gimel. The feminine, shalosh esrei, follows the same pattern, just with feminine forms. Now, there's something funny that happens with the numerals when you get to 15. To write out chamesh esrei, 15 with feminine nouns, in numerals you might have thought we'd write Yod for 10 and He for 5, but that looks too much like a shortened form of the divine name, Yah. So instead they write Tet for 9 and Vav for 6. 9 plus 6 also equals 15, and it doesn't look anything like the divine name, so that you couldn't accidentally misuse it in a bad way. You follow the same pattern for 14, 16, 17, 18, or 19. Now 20 looks like the plural of 10, asrim, and it can be used either with masculine or feminine nouns. So from the numbers 20 and upward, you don't have to worry whether the thing is masculine or feminine, it's the same form. So asrim looks like a plural of 10, and if we want to say something like 25, we take asrim and we add on the appropriate form of 5. So if it's a feminine thing we're describing, it's asrim v'chamesh. Sometimes you'll find chamesh v'asrim. It doesn't matter which way you put them. And again, if you write them out in Hebrew letters as numerals, there's a kaf, which stands for 20, and a he, which stands for 5. And so forth for any other combination of numbers. The numbers from 30 through 90 look like the plural form of the basic counting numbers of 3 through 9. So shalosh for 3 becomes shaloshim, 30. Arba'im, 40. Chamishim, 50. Now 50 can also stand for a small military unit of approximately 50 men. You'll see that sometimes in the historical books. Shishim, 60. Shiv'im, 70. Shmonim, 80. Tish'im, 90. Now there's a special word for 100, me'ah, which can also mean a medium-sized military unit. Sometimes it occurs in the construct, ma'at, but basically me'ah is the form for 100. To say 200, you use the dual form of me'ah, which is ma'thayim. Ma'thayim. It has its own special Hebrew numeral, resh. 300 is 3 plus the plural of 100, shalosh me'ot, and it has its special numeral, shin. For 400, it was 4 hundreds, arba me'ot. This is also the highest number to have a special dedicated numeral in the Hebrew alphabet, tav, for 400, arba me'ot. 1,000 is elef. This was also the largest military unit, whether or not that unit contained exactly 1,000 men. Elef, 1,000. 2,000 is the dual of elef, alpayim. And for 3,000 or higher, you would use an appropriate form of 3 with the plural of elef. So, shaloshet alpayim, and so forth. There was also a number, rivava, or ribbot, which meant 10,000, or a very large number that's probably around 10,000, but I don't really want to bother counting it. Although this video is already quite long, we do need to talk as well about ordinal numbers. So cardinal numbers, what we've been having so far, are how to say, I have 3 books. Ordinal numbers put things in an order. The first thing, the second thing, and the third. And they are basically adjectives. And so therefore, like all adjectives, they have masculine and feminine forms. So the masculine of first is rishon, rishon. The feminine form, predictably, is rishonah, rishonah. For second, the masculine form is sheni, sheni, which looks a lot like the word for 2. And the feminine form just adds a tav to the end, shenit, shenit. The rest of the numbers from 3 through 10, 3rd through 10th, are based on the counting number, 3 through 10, in a predictable pattern. So 3 by itself was shalosh. 3rd is shalishi. So you replace any vowels in the counting number with a hirik yod, and then stick a hirik yod on the end, and you have the ordinal. Shilishi, 3rd. Add a tav to the end of it, shilishit, and you get the feminine form, 3rd, which can also mean 1/3, a fraction. For 4, we take arba, and we tweak it slightly to become ravi'i, or feminine, ravi'it. The feminine can also mean 1/4, as opposed to the 4th thing in a series. 5th is chamishi, masculine, or chamishit, feminine. 6th, shishi, or shishit, feminine. 7th, shavi'i, or shavi'it, for the feminine. Shemini is 8th, or sheminit, for the feminine. Tishi'i, 9th, or tishi'it, for the feminine. And finally, asiri, for 10th, or asirit, for the feminine. The higher numbers aren't worth even going over at this point. They occur relatively rarely.